Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and today I want to come to you with a commentary on unity, and unity more specifically in the firearms world. As time has gone on, I have been in this to see changes in both our culture and I think the community as a whole, and what we focus on and how we treat each other. I think that something that we can all agree on is that our Second Amendment rights are under constant attack, and of course many of us, this is a big deal, and we're trying to band together to fight this. We want to preserve our rights going forward. However, it seems like as time goes on, whether it's because of culture, content creators, or just the issues at hand, our community is becoming more and more divided. And maybe some conspiracy theorists will say that's intended by the anti-gunners and they're sowing the seeds of discontent. Or maybe we actually have kind of a civil war within the gun community itself from people that are really far to one side or the other. And we just don't see eye to eye, even though in general we have the same goals. As the saying goes from the Revolutionary War, we either hang together or we hang separately. Now, I'm going to talk a lot about my experiences as a content creator and what I see and how I feel like I get treated by some members of the gun community. So this is going to come from my personal perspective, and maybe as a content creator yourself or just somebody that consumes firearm content, you've seen some of these trends. Now, every time I put out a video, regardless of what it is, it could just be a video about, hey, the Glock 19 is awesome. Inevitably, I'm going to get thumbs down on that video, and I'm gonna get comments where people tell me I'm the most stupid person in the world, that gun's gonna blow up in your hand, it's the worst gun ever made, you're a terrible content creator and I'm never gonna follow you again. And granted, most of the comments I'm going to get are going to be very positive, but I can't please everybody all the time. Another example is when I review an AK-47. People say, well, because you don't review it like Robski over at the AK-47 74 Operators Union, you're doing it wrong. You don't know anything about AKs. You're an AR guy. You don't appreciate this. You shouldn't make content. I'm telling you, I get a lot of comments like that and tons of thumbs down. Regardless if I say this is an awesome AK and you should buy it, it's fantastic, it's well built, and I'm very complimentary of the firearm and the people that build the firearm. But you can't please everyone all the time. It's just a reality of the situation. And of course, our gun community is very diverse. So how does this relate to becoming unified as a force when it comes to defending our Second Amendment rights? Well, let me tell you, whenever I make a video, especially my commentary videos, and most recently about the ATF pistol brace videos, I will get people calling me every name under the book, calling me a traitor. You're not a Second Amendment advocate. You are all on their side. You must be an ATF agent. I hate you. You're the worst person ever. You're the reason we're losing our gun rights. And then, of course, on the other side, people are thanking me for bringing them the information and letting them decide what they want to do with that information. So what ends up happening here is a bifurcation or a division within the community. It is obvious if you watch my content, either here on the Texas Gun Vault or the Texas Gun Vault 2, that I am a Second Amendment advocate. I love firearms and I want to support the Second Amendment. I am an advocate for it. I try to be a good ambassador for it. There is no doubt, hopefully, in people's minds of where I stand on this. But just because I might disagree with somebody on one thing. Let's talk about the ATF pistol brace amnesty thing. I said, hey, I already got a ton of NFA items. Me trying out this amnesty isn't going to hurt anybody. It's not going to hurt me, and I'll go through the process to see actually what happens. And if it's a bad experience, I'll let you know to avoid it. If it's a good experience and if it's something that you want to do, you can go ahead and do that. Well, because I had that approach, people will tell me, I'm never following you again. And now we are divided, as I said, and they are unwelcoming of me into their community. There are people that have gone out of their way because they see my videos, and I have occasionally looked up on websites like Reddit and other forums, and I look up the Texas Gun Vault to see if anybody's talking about me. And lo and behold, I will find articles, I guess not articles, but I guess threads about me where people are saying, he's the worst person ever, he's a traitor, he's an infiltrator from the ATF, he hates us all, don't listen to him, don't follow him. And they really try to call me out when here I am, a big supporter of the Second Amendment. So they try to exile me from the community in those small circles. Now overall, I'm very welcomed. It's just those small amounts of people in those small groups. But every content creator has their detractors. So as long as people are absolutist in their thought, that just because somebody in the community disagrees with one point, one philosophy that they have, they're a traitor, they can't be trusted, we can't work together, well, that hurts our cause because now we're less unified than we were before. I believe Colion Noir made an excellent video in the past where he portrayed different types of gun characters. You had the hunter, the collector, the shooter, like the target shooter or the competition shooter, all those different types of people in a room, and they're all arguing. And he comes in and goes, guys, you have to work together. You need to shut up and listen to each other. The tactical shooter might not like hunting, and the hunter might not like AR-15s. But we're all in the same boat together, and if we don't defend each other, and most importantly, listen to each other, we're going to lose. Now, as I said, we're not always going to agree on everything under the sun. But you know who is inclusive and not exclusive? Anti-gunners. Let me tell you, and let me ask you a question. If there was somebody that's not really a big gun owner, maybe they own one gun for self-defense, and they're not in the Second Amendment geeky dorky stuff like you or I are, and they hold a belief because their experience is so limited that universal background checks are a good idea. Well, okay, we obviously disagree with them. We think universal background checks are a bad idea. So if they come into our community, post on a video, we ostracize them. We tell them that they're stupid. And so what do? Well, they realize, well, we're not welcome by fellow gun owners. But guess who will welcome them to their ranks? Anti-gun groups, anti-gun organizations. Even if that person only believes universal background checks are a good idea, they could be completely against assault weapon bans. They could be against magazine capacity limits. They could be against restrictions on carry, but they think universal background checks are a good idea. But because they disagree on all those other things but agree on one commonality, the anti-gunners will welcome them with open arms into their community. And they realize that they're playing the long game, the culture game, because once they're in that community, you can talk to them and express your opinions to them and hopefully change them over time to become more and more anti-gun. So they're always moving the ball forward. They're always looking to the future. But what are the pro-gunners doing? Are they doing the same thing? No, they are not. They're excluding people. They're calling people names. And unless you agree with them on every platform that they have, they want nothing to do with you. They call you terrible names. They'll go after you personally just because you agree with them 99% of the time. And one thing you might disagree with them on, they hate you, they exclude you, and they ostracize you, and they exile you from the community. It divides the community, and we lose focus. We lose that unity, and now we're no longer that unified bloc that can fight these gun control advocates. One of the most surprising videos that I ever made on the Texas Gun Vault, which is now on the Texas Gun Vault 2, on a Texas Gun Vault poll question of the week. And by the way, if you guys used to like that segment on my old channel, please go over to the Texas Gun Vault 2. I've uploaded all 103 of those videos, and now I'm making new ones. So that's where I've migrated all of that content to. I'll put a link in the description below. Go check that out. But one of the most interesting videos I ever made over there, and the questions I I posed is, okay, let's talk about real compromise. Is there any compromise that we can have with anti-gunners? And by compromise, I mean real compromise, not us giving up something and getting nothing in return. One of the questions I asked was, well, they always talk about universal background checks. Well, would you accept universal background checks? Because after all, 90% or 95% of all gun sales, well, legal gun sales, are done with background checks because most gun sales are done at gun shows or gun stores where they're buying guns from FFLs, and legally they have to go through the NICS system. So adding universal background checks might not be that many more gun sales, but I understand it is an infringement. But I said, what if we gave that up, but in return, we repealed the NFA so you can have short barrel rifles, short barrel shotguns, silencers, and machine guns, and we get rid of all of the state level restrictions on assault weapons bans, so all of California could own AR-15s and AK-47s. New York would no longer have the SAFE Act. Would you make that trade? Would you give them universal background checks if we repealed assault weapons bans at the state level and repealed the NFA? I thought it was going to be an overwhelming, well, yeah, obviously we're advancing the ball more on our side, and in the future we can work on these people that are in the middle and go, see, universal background checks really don't do all that much. Let's get rid of those too. But instead, there was an overwhelming number of people that said, absolutely not. I would never give up 1 single inch. They'll never get anything, which I understand you want to win the ultimate war. But you're going at it the wrong way, in my personal opinion. You just don't win a war in the first battle. You have to think the long game, just like the anti-gunners do. But because people have that mentality of it's all or nothing, there's no strategy involved, it is absolute destruction of my enemy, absolute victory right now, or I will not give any ground whatsoever, might be the reason why we're losing. Now, I'm not saying we want to give up anything, but I'm saying we need to put value on certain aspects of gun control. I think an assault weapons ban is way worse than a universal background check system. Both are bad. However, in the grand scheme of things, I think the assault weapons ban is worse. And over time, we can change the culture to repeal the universal background checks. But we can only do that as a unified front. But because the gun community has so many people in it now that are one-sided, they refuse to work with anybody that disagrees with them, even on one topic, we are divided. And that is exactly what the gun control groups and the gun control advocates want. They want us divided. They want us fighting. People just don't get it. You're not going to get a fence sitter, someone that may be like, yeah, I like the Second Amendment, to agree with abolishing all gun rights overnight. So you have to be inclusive of them. You need to welcome them into the community. Take them shooting. They can still, after a month or even a year go, you know, I really think that safe storage laws are really, really important, and those should be enforced. And you can go, oh gosh, we got one of those. But they're still in the gun community. They're buying guns. They're going shooting. And over time, you can plant the seeds to change their mind. So the inclusivity is what is going to save the Second Amendment, not being exclusive. The hate that we have for each other, just because I like ARs more than AKs and you're an AK guy, you hate me, how does that further our cause? I welcome the Second Amendment for everybody. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what sex you are. In general, I don't care what political affiliation you are. I might say, hey, if you're of this political affiliation, they're trying to take your guns. But even if you are of that political affiliation, as long as you want to be a safe and responsible gun owner, I'm going to welcome you into the community. Because once you're part of this community, you might change. You might go, you know, that political party that I currently vote for, yeah, they really get all of this wrong. I'm going to change my vote in a future election because we were inclusive. I don't care what gender you are. I don't care what your orientation is. I don't care what you look like. As long as you are a law-abiding citizen of the United States, the Second Amendment is for you. It's for everybody. And if we have people of all backgrounds joining the fight, and we are a unified front, even though we don't agree on everything, I believe we can secure the Second Amendment forever. You're never going to get everything you want. You will never have absolute victory. We will never repeal all gun control laws, and you need to accept that. And once you do, it can allow other people into the community, even though you are free to still believe whatever it is you want, and you can speak up and say, hey, I know you think this is important, but hey, listen to my perspective. You might change them over time. It's a battle that needs to be won over the years and decades, not in one election cycle or 1 week or 1 month. We need to be unified. And I'm challenging all of you who in your hearts may not like me or like other gun owners or content creators because they have a particular political stance or might disagree with you on one issue. Don't go after them. Don't hate them. Don't divide the community. You don't have to watch their content. You don't have to like them. You don't have to be their friends. But you can also say, hey, if other people are finding the Second Amendment because of this person, it's good. We're going to work together. Let's be unified. Let's be the unified front in preserving and protecting the Second Amendment. So that's the challenge I have for all of you today. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think the gun community is too divided today? Are we too disparate of factions that just can't come together, and because we're always infighting on what's important, that we can never get anything done? I'm tired of the division. I want to be unified. You don't have to like me. You don't have to agree with the types of guns that I like. You can be a completely different type of Second Amendment enthusiast than I am. I still support you 100%. If all you want to do is have shotguns for skeet shooting, well, that's definitely not me. I still support you, and I will support any politician, bill, or law that protects your ability to enjoy guns the way that you want to enjoy them. Like I hope you would do the same for me. We must be a unified front. So that's the challenge. Are you a unifier or are you a divider? Look into your heart and ask yourself the tough question. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. And can we unify as a Second Amendment community and preserve the Second Amendment forever? So, as always, thanks for watching.